I would focus on markets where you win with a similar value proposition, similar product with what you have in France and Belgium. And then over time, some of the API product that Elizabeth just talked about for large real estate brands, that will come later. Because if you start there, it might take 2 years of trying to sign them and nothing will come out. In this new episode of Indie Board Session, I'm very happy to welcome my guest, Pauline. Pauline, welcome.
Hi, Pascal. Nice to meet you.
And to have my the second board member in Elizabeth. Elizabeth, nice to have you here.
Hey, hi everyone. Hi, Pascal. Hi, Pauline.
Elizabeth and I have known each other for almost 20 years. We started our career at around the same building, if not the same company. She was at PayPal when I was at eBay 20 years ago. And she has a career she's now a product advisor, and she has a long career as a product executive, both at big companies and also startups. And so today we are happy to have you, Pauline. You've been an indie for 3 years. You have built at least one successful growing SaaS business, IACrea. And also you are launching a new model where you're leveraging your audience to launch new projects, and we'll hear more about it later in the call. So welcome, Pauline, and congratulations for taking a leap and being a full-time indie.
Thank you, Pascal, for the invitation.
So what in this first phase of the podcast, maybe we can learn more about your experience. So what you were doing before starting full-time as an indie, and also what was the trigger that made you take a leap away from your previous job and into your current career?
So before being indie hacker, I was working at IBM for 9 years as a data science consultant. And so basically I was working for big clients to study their data. And like 3 years ago, I started to have side projects. So I started with crypto trading automation and several failed projects. And one was related to AI. It was to you sent it some photo of you, and my AI could change yourself in a funny pictures. It was fun, but I didn't know how to grow it. It was more like a B2C app. And I thought, okay, what could I do that I like with AI and that is useful? And I thought about improving like home staging to visualize a home after renovation or with new furnitures. And so I started working on it alone, and I started to get clients. It was 2 years ago. So I thought, okay, maybe there is something to do with it. So I wanted to focus, and I really wanted to work on this project full time. So now I'm working on it full time, and I started solo, but quickly a friend I already built business with joined me in this adventure as a CTO, and later on a business partner has joined the team.
And if you look at this, what were the moment you knew that it was worth taking a leap and focusing on it? Was it having a few clients? Was it an MRR target? Like, what was the trigger in your mind?
The trigger was before I was doing on the side at IBM, but I needed more time because it was like weekends and nights, and there is some event like real estate event I could join because it's during the day. If I wanted to join and get more clients, I had to take a day off. But if I take all my day off, then I have no holidays, and at some point it's very difficult. So I thought, okay, maybe now I don't remember. Maybe it was like 3,000 MRR. So it was proven that people were interested by it, and I really wanted to focus more to grow it. So yes, this is when I thought I could lead AI-Crea to a next level, that I wanted to be full-time.
And what were the key phrases of, that when you discovered that, oh, there is something there, from what the users were telling you? Do you remember?
What they told me at the beginning?
Yeah, like when did it made like ting, like this is really something useful?
Oh, when actually at the first version of AI-Crea was really simple. It was an MVP, like you sent a photo and you have a new photo renovated, but it worked really badly. To be honest, like it changed the window. If you had a window on like a desert, you had in the end a view on New York. So it wasn't good, but the inside was changed and renovated, and the client see value with it. So I said, okay, with this basic version, if they see value, I'm sure I can improve it a lot, and it's worth working on it.
Amazing.
What is the revenue size or of a business, or the number of clients that you work with?
So now we are more focused. I think most of our clients are in Europe, mainly in France and Belgium. We don't communicate a lot of a recent one, but we are over 10K MRR now. But we have MRR and we have revenue, which is different from our business, because in our business model, we sell both. We sell some subscription for people who have recurring revenue. So this is MRR. We also have what I call revenue. It's people that buy a pack of photo, and they can use it whenever they want, but it's not a subscription. And another type of client that is revenue and not MRR is a client, more white label clients using API. So I never know each month how usage how much they will use the API. Yeah.
Yeah. Who are the clients today? Are they platforms? Are they real estate agents? Are they people like you and me?
My clients of AI-Crea are mainly business that are real estate agents or agencies. So it's mainly them. I have a few individuals, but it's quite rare actually. And for the white label part is more larger companies. One is like a prop tech in taking virtual tours on a mobile. Another one, for instance, is a portal of listing. So he lists all house details to sell the houses. Another one I have is a network of photographs. So it's quite large, but it's people who work with, in the end, with the final client, that is a real estate agent.
And so you sell for them, it's a price per photo basically on a monthly basis. And so you have kind of a transactional fee in that way, a little bit like Stripe.
Yes, more or less. Like there is a fee to use it, and then it's per usage.
And today, when you look at your business, what part is growing the fastest? The one-side revenue, the recurring one, or the one that is more, I would say, B2B?
Actually, it's like what grows most is revenue with these high clients, because they are more big companies. So you get one client, it's way more than one client using the platform, you know. But so in like one client equals a lot of regular clients using the end interface. So yeah, in terms of revenue, it's more important with the big clients, but in terms of a number of clients, it's the end interface, end user interface.
What were, before we dive into some of the issues, what were some of the challenges that you've had at previous times that took way more time to solve that you anticipated? I mean, maybe with a model to remove, to make sure that when you renovate a house, you don't end up moving from a view of Tuscany to a view of New York City.
Yes, that's actually exactly the point. I think what took the most of the time was AI models. There is AI for a lot of things, but we wanted a very specialized AI, and it didn't really exist for my usage, for my use cases. So we had to train AI, and this was very difficult because it takes a lot of time and money as well. So it's very stressful because you do one training, like it takes 4 days to train. And at the end you say, oh, okay, it didn't work well. So you have to train again. So each time is money and it's time. So it was really stressful. And it's quite new. There is not like a lot of experts that can help you. Like many people will tell you, I'm an AI expert, but what they know actually is just a prompt ChatGPT. So, okay, I know this too. So it's really hard to find who are the good people in this industry. And yes, I think that was one of the very difficult parts to create models and also to set up a good architecture for this. Because you need GPUs,
Yeah.
which is very expensive.
Okay, so you have built your own model, right, in the end?
Yes, I usually start with an existing one. And then I try to do my own ones because first it's less expensive and you can do whatever you want if you own the AI.
So now we're going to go to the second part of the podcast, which is the board session, and go about with your two main challenges. We're going to start with the first one, which is about growing IACrea internationally.
So that's actually one of the challenge. Like AI-Crea, it's difficult to say if it's not in
I was going
French
to say,
or
my first advice is to
I know there is a real branding question here.
yeah, there's a branding question. So all your customers are based in the French-speaking part of Europe, right? So France and Belgium. Where would you like it to, like, do you have competitors outside? Like, what's the situation?
Yeah, I do have competitors outside, but like I would like to. I know there is some countries that that might be difficult to reach. Like for instance, there is some country right now in Spain. There is a lot of people that want to buy house, but not a lot of offer. So basically, when you have one flat on the market, it doesn't need home staging because there is a lot of people that want to buy. So we cannot value our software the same way as we do in France. Like for this specific situation, for instance, the value will be on how to get like a real estate agent have um, to know who is selling, and the seller has to choose this company to sell. So this is an argument for us to say, okay, I have this tool, so I can use it to sell faster your flat, and this is an argument in the speech of the person. So we won't communicate the same value depending on the country, but it's difficult because we have to know the market to know what are the key messages, and for this specifically for Spain, for us it's easy because one of my partner is from Spain.
And I mean, in Europe, typically there are some countries are more advanced digitally in digital adoption than others. So and some are much more culturally so specific. You need a local managing director. Let's say Germany. I mean, from experience and other people I know, people tend to say until you have someone who is really from the culture and know how to go around certain things is really hard from outside. So have you mapped out the countries on Are they ready for that tool, or how hard are they versus where you are?
I think no, we are not mature enough in this analysis. We don't know which country could be good or not, but what we think that might be wrong is like in Europe, we are more or less in the same culture. The home staging is quite similar from a country to another, because if you say, like, for instance, if you say in Japan, it's totally different decoration, so it won't work. But in our current design decoration, we have like Scandinavian, but also modern and different. That is, I think, works pretty well in Europe. But in terms of how countries are mature with the technology, I'm not sure enough I could answer today.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, you'll have these marketplaces, right, which are the aggregators basically for each country. So you'll have your real estate agents with their own website, but then aggregators. So I think seeing how much they are, and is it one, is it three? I mean, because there will be a huge kind of sign of how is already the market concentrated. And let's say the UK market in another sector, in automotive, like, it might be differently concentrated than the Italian market. So that could really inform your go-to-market. If it's a highly concentrated, everything is going through two marketplaces, you may as well just go for the big ticket. Let's try to crack these marketplaces. If it's quite a fragmented market, it would be much more of a self-serve. How do I get my brand out there? So, I mean, that's the hard thing, is that scaling across international markets usually is not a one playbook.
Yeah, totally. I think like with marketplaces, like in France, there is some big marketplace, but it's quite hard to be in contact with them. And like they have, I mean, we are one service among another, but they can offer a lot of services to their real estate agent. They are not specifically interested. I mean, some are, and we are talking with them, but like one marketplace I'm working with, it's in Canada, for instance, because they really see the interest and they want to offer these services to their agents. But yeah, targeting marketplace, it's a big company, so it's very difficult you have to know who is the leader, who can take decision, and how to reach them, because it's difficult. Like, you can reach out on LinkedIn, but you are nobody for them. They don't know you. So usually, if they don't see the interest directly, he will see the message, but you won't have an answer. I think this is really difficult to reach this company like that.
One of my thoughts in terms of thinking globally is to make sure that you're making changes, but you're not changing everything every time. So, for example, you're going to change to adapt your go-to-market. You're going to adapt a little bit of a product, but if you have to adapt everything, and no country is really big from a revenue standpoint, you start managing a lot of complexity. Like, assuming that you're doing 120K, for example, in your current iteration in France, which is, we know it's more, but let's just say it's that. If you're doing another 120K in Spain, on the one hand, it's good, but on the other hand, it's not that much money in the grand scheme of things. And if you have two products, two value proposition, etc., it's a bit dangerous, because then basically you have almost two companies that are not necessarily learning from each other and that are all subscale. If they are 1-2 million in revenue, sure, you can have two companies with nuance. But when it's small, I would advise you to have something a bit more homogeneous. And I think that one thing that American companies, and Elizabeth and I both started at eBay. American companies are really good at, they have a playbook, they go to a country and it's the same playbook. And then sure, you adapt, like the way that the Spanish marketplace on eBay 20 years ago and the French one or the German one were a little bit different. But at the end of the day, if you ask a German and a French and a Spaniard at the time what was eBay, they were telling you the same thing. And I think there is a value to that in my mind. Now, it doesn't mean that the go-to-market is the same, but at least the value proposition is the same. That's one thing I would say. What do you think, Elizabeth?
I really agree on the value prop. I think ultimately you need to really nail who is the person I'm helping, like in which category am I, following Geoffrey Moore's product positioning. I think just have to be really clear. I'm solving this problem for those people. This is my differentiation. And you keep that constant, right? Until you iterate it, but you keep that constant and across all markets. So I agree with you, Pascal. And making the difference between that and the go-to-market, I think is important. Figuring out a way to test a few markets and see, okay, I have traction here and there. Maybe I'll test the Nordics, I test the UK, I test, and then say, okay, for this year, I'm going to focus on maybe these 5 on a proactive go-to-market. I will leave all the others on a self-serve, see what happens, kind of, I would caveat Germany. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I've always seen it at requiring a very different local knowledge. But that's maybe my own experience. Maybe I'm wrong.
So yeah, I think, but like value proposition, if it's too different, because as I said earlier, so we can have the value proposition of home staging easy, but also to how to catch the sellers. So the value, the message won't be the same, but the product is the same. So is it like, do you
Can you explain a bit more? Sorry to interrupt you. Can you explain a bit more the two and the problem you're solving for each of them? And most importantly, are they willing to pay in each of the two cases? Who is willing to pay for you to solve that problem?
Yeah, both are. We have both kind of clients. So in the first use case is or value, let's say a message is okay. AI-Crea is super cool for marketing because you can do the home staging and show it to the owners, the visitors, sorry, who want to buy. So you show them, okay, you don't know how this house will look like after renovation. Okay, I show you. So it's an argument to sell faster. But this is the product is the same as the one with another message that is not, okay, now you will see how the house will look like after renovation. But the message will be, okay, you have someone that sell a house in front of you. How do you get this house to sell? Say, okay, I have a software that is super cool because I will be able to market your house with a home staging, and we also do some videos from photo. So it's to convince the seller to give them the house to sell.
Okay, so it's for home staging. Yeah, yes. You have a home staging provider who wants to showcase their work, and then you have an actual seller who wants better pictures.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you could create 2 different products with 2 different brands with the same tech. It doesn't matter at all.
But it's another. I could do 2 different landing page. I think the effort is quite low, but behind for the 2 personas, it's the very same use.
Oh, I understand. I'm saying you could go further than 2 landing pages, right? You could have 2 logos, 2 brand identities, 2 everything. Make it super, super clear, super simple.
I don't know if you need 2 different brands for this.
It's up to you.
If you think about, if you're building a tool, for example, to help an agent sign more clients, then if you think about it that way, you might start with a home staging, but then they'll want more from you. And the more will not be in the home staging business. It will be maybe they'll want a CRM or they'll want some other features. And so the risk is that at some point your product diverge, and because the job to be done is not the same. On the one case, the job is showcase better listings to your customers online. Very simple value prop. The other one is sign more clients. And in that case, home staging is a way, is a how, but it's not the goal. The goal is to sign more clients. And I think that if you change that, it changes what is your product. And then your product becomes broader. And so that's why Elizabeth is right, that you'll see that at some point your product will have to diverge. Because the product for agent in the Spanish market will be when you ask them, what do you want? They'll not tell you, oh, I want this new style. They'll say, oh, I want these other things that I need to sign more clients. Maybe I want to collect emails. I want to have something with a QR code so that when I go to a place, people can get me, whatever marketing tool that they will need. But it will diverge away from having nicer looking models and houses and renovation houses.
Yeah, it's a great way to put it. I think it's the features and the lower level jobs to be done, they will be really different, right? They're really, really different.
Totally, and I think that's right, and I didn't think it that way, because indeed, for the people who want to sign more, we also created a feature that is a lead generation inside of. So yes, that's absolutely right. So I think we really need to think about it, because we cannot afford to have two different product and two landing page to run. I mean, we could, but we are still a very small team. So we have to focus maybe on the persona and doing maybe it's better to focus on one and do the thing very well than doing something for everyone, but being average.
You actually have even three sub-brands, because you have an API business potentially, right? So you could build tool for platforms of very large. Let's say I'm a network of estate agents, right? So I'm a really large company. I'm not a platform. I probably want to have something automated where everyone uploads their pictures and it does something where all the pictures are professional no matter what, and the headquarters define what is a professional looking picture. So that's an API business, annual contracts, blah, blah. Then you have your mom and dad real estate agents, second business, and then you have your home kind of the other product. So I think you probably have at least three. And you do need to map at the problem with the first one you said, it's only enterprise, very long cycles. So it's a risky business model on its own. But if your costs are low, it's also super interesting. Probably these teams have the power to build that on their own, though. So there's a further element of risk there. But
or they can come later. I mean, I think that having the SMB first, and then you are a player in the market, people know you. And then at some point, it's something that I look for sometimes for acquisition. When you're selling to SMB, but you have enterprise customers, that's a good sign. It means that the enterprise, they looked at everything and they figured out that you are the best product, even though you shouldn't be your target customer. And so the fact, that's what happened to you in France. And so I think in other markets, I would focus on markets where you win with a similar value proposition, similar product that what you have in France and Belgium. And then over time, some of the API product that Elizabeth just talked about for large real estate brands, that will come later. Because if you start there, it might take 2 years of trying to sign them and nothing will come out.
That's true, although Pauline seems to have some already.
Yeah, she does. In France and Canada.
Yes.
And also abroad. But I think because I think to get big clients, you need to have the end users as well. Because the more end users you have, the more they will talk about you and the more it will interest the big companies. I think it works that way. And we try to focus on dedicate a part to reach the end users and also to reach big companies. So not to put all the time contacting the big company because it takes too much time. And we try to do a balance of the two.
Have you looked at the UK, just out of curiosity?
No,
or do you
not
have
much.
lots of competition?
No, I had a very little experience with the UK. That someone told me it wouldn't work there, but because of someone told me because of regulation, but I'm not sure it was right actually. That home staging is not allowed. And another one is a photograph from there, and it was interesting to be an affiliate because he worked with a lot of real estate agents. But at the end, he told me he didn't find people interested. So this is the only experience I had, and I didn't take the time to analyze further.
For the UK precisely, I wouldn't know. Elizabeth, do you have friends who are in real estate agents?
I mean, you have really big platforms like Zoopla and Rightmove and others who are really there's some incumbents have also tried to build a marketplace. So I think you have at least 2 or 3 big marketplaces, but you also have a few chains of real estate agents who are very large nationally and own really key segments of the market. So it'd be interesting. I'll send you the links of time. You can map out what they do today, and it's back to your earlier point, which was super interesting. Is it a buyer's market or a seller's market? And therefore, do sellers need to make efforts or not? It's super cyclical, the UK. So, at some point we may be in one version, but a few years ago, during COVID, it was definitely a seller's market. So it's really fluctuating. But generally for B2B, it's a super advanced, kind of highly penetrated digital market. So I would say have a look, I think it's also, not talking to somebody like Pascal as an investor, but I think generally it's nice to have a balanced kind of some penetration, which is not only in the kind of sovereign side of Europe. Having tested the UK or the Nordics, I think is really good. Not distracting yourself everywhere, but I think they are really interesting markets.
Yeah, that's interesting. But it's worth it indeed to look at it. And as you say, and I think it's not only for UK that this cycle of people who are, there is more seller or more buyers. So this is a difficulty on every country, I think.
Cool. Let's go after the second problem or the second challenge and opportunity you mentioned. So one thing that we didn't talk about that much so far is that you have built IACrea in public, and you have quite a large following. I think 27,000 followers on X or something like that. So 10 times what I've been able to do in 17 years on Twitter.
Come on, Pascal, continue. Go on.
Yeah,
go on.
I need to continue. So you have 20, and so what you tell us before we go into some of the challenges there. Tell us what you've done, because I saw recently you've launched a product called Feedbask asking. So tell us what is your model and what are some of the challenges that you're facing there?
Yeah, okay. By my model, you mean what do I do with this?
Yeah, so you
project?
have co-makers.
Yes, exactly. I think so. I built IACrea, which means now I have an audience in the real estate market. Not really an audience, but I have clients. So if I want to build something new, I know I can use like the newsletter or this email database, which actually worked pretty well because I started with home staging and then I started to add video services for our real estate market. And I think it increased the revenue of 30% in 2 months, which is huge. But just also for the context, the MRR wasn't like a lot at this time. It's not a lot yet, but
come on.
So yeah, the percentage is pretty cool because it means I can reuse. And then I thought, okay, I can reuse this database, but also I have a big audience in X. I like, as you said, I have almost 30,000 people. But these people are not interested by real estate. They don't care. They are interested to follow me because I build SaaS. I build in public. I share as much as I can from my journey. So they follow me for that. And I think, okay, how can I leverage from this community? I can leverage because I ask them a lot of questions and it makes connection. They can help me by answering. So it's very useful for this. But I thought, okay, can I also make money leveraging this audience? And I thought maybe I could also build some SaaS related to this audience. The thing is, I don't have much time because I'm full-time working on AI-Crea. I have co-founders. So I started to make some deals where I can do the distribution using my newsletter X and everything I can replicate from my previous experiences. And I will find someone that can build actually the thing. So a co-founder, technical. And I think it works that way. So yeah, I just asked Twitter, hey, we want to do something with me. And I found someone. So this is why Feedbask is not live, I think for a week ago now.
Yeah, you launched it last week, I think. I saw it on your X. And so your idea is to have several of them, to have one at a time. Like, how do you approach that new business model in a way?
So on this kind of deal, I think I really want to take a project only if it's real estate or if it's related to my audience. Otherwise, I will have to learn new things and it will make too much time. So this part of not co-working, but a partnership with other makers to build some SaaS has to be in my indie hacking audience. So I think I forgot maybe the purpose of the question. Sorry.
Yeah. So my question is more: would you say that could you do multiple at the same time? Do you control what they're building, like how good they are from a product perspective, et cetera, because you don't want to partner with everybody. So how do you deal with these the quality control challenge, and also the fact that if you have 5 at the same time, it becomes a lot.
It can be overwhelming. I very careful with this. Many people ask me if they could do something with me, and I say I can't because I don't want to accept projects that are saying, oh, I will do the distribution, but if I can't handle in the end, they will be frustrated, they won't appreciate. I really don't want this to happen. So I knew that for Feedbask, I'm a worker. I really love to work, and I have extra time I can dedicate on this. So I said, okay, I can handle this. And there was also another project that I had for, I think, a year ago in my head, and I found someone to develop it, but it takes a lot of time, and that's okay for me because I have the other things to do. But the other project is related to affiliation. It's a software to handle affiliation. And this is software I need. And also Feedbask, it's something I needed also. It's a widget that you can put on your website to collect feedbacks, bug report, etc. And it was easy for me to imagine this because I had the need. So I kind of built for myself. So I know exactly what I wanted, and it doesn't mean that it's what other people will want. But I'm doing the same approach as IACrea, like MVP first. And with Feedbask is quite easy because it's a widget, people install it, and they do feedback. They give me feedback using Feedbask. So it's quite cool for this. So yeah, I am trying. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question, and sorry if it's a bit controversial. And we're speaking in English, but as French people, we're happy to have direct questions. When you say you have time, I mean, I find that extraordinary. You're launching a pan-European business focused on real estate, and we've already discussed you have 3 potential kind of products. So tell me more. I mean, tell me more of how you balance running that business with launching these other things.
Okay, so I see AI-Crea more like a startup, like a co-founder. So it's like my daily job, let's say from Monday to Friday. And but I know I have my evenings, I have my weekends, and I can work on something else. But it's not that straight. Like sometimes if I want to work, I don't know, 3 hours to Feedbask. But I know on the weekend I will work on AI-Crea. I'm trying to do this very in an ethical, let's say, phase. So of course, if there is emergency, AI-Crea is first because it's really the business. But if I know that I work more than less, let's say, so I can do these things. But
no
of
kids, no kids yet, Elizabeth. We have to remember that time.
I don't have kids, and and I know I can't handle one more. Like if someone called me today, I can't.
Yeah, I find it really fascinating. I'm not critical at all. I'm really curious to understand your motivation, and I think it's great to have a change of scene and you put your mind on something else. And I also think that AI must help you to go faster, right? And there are things that would have taken weeks before, and now they take a couple of days, and you push them out. And so I'm curious to just understand what's in it for you to have multiple things in parallel.
Yeah, and I think actually it's not managed the same way. Like for AI-Crea, it's like to acquire new clients. It's really also with physical events. They have my phone, so it's really more time consuming. I think I can leverage from the audience, and I have some strategies with the 2 other SaaS that is they need like me to do them, but like for SEO or like programmatic SEO could work well with this. Also the audience and writing tweets regularly on it. It doesn't take much time to do because I already did it for the past 3 years. I tweeted every day. It's something I like to do. It's kind of my routine on the Sunday morning because there is no one to know me. So I do this like I can handle like 30 minutes. I write a lot of tweets and I schedule them. So I already did it, but the only thing that changes instead of talking like a general tweet, I can talk about like Feedbask or the other one.
Okay. It's interesting. I've talked to people in the indie community that have built ecosystem like yours. I mean, there is somebody called John Rush who has even bigger following than you. I think he has 100,000 followers or more, and he says he has 24 startups, which I believe he does because I've never seen somebody with his work ethic. And he has 3 kids already. So I think, 3 for sure. But my one thing with him is that he's very methodical about what he's going to build. In a way, he knows he wants to cover every dimension of, for example, marketing for creators. And so he has built these units of product that he wants to build, and he's methodical about it. The good thing about that is that it corresponds well to his tweeting style. When he tweets a lot of long lists. Oftentimes he mentions his products in the long list, so it corresponds well to what he does. I think the risk for you of that method is at some point you're doing a bunch of different things, and when somebody else wants to join your network, how do you decide whether it's a good use of your time or a bad use of your time? Because at some point, for the first one or two, you can accept good people, like quality founders, and it's easy in a way. But at some point, AI-Crea will be bigger. These two other things will be bigger. And then you'll need to have a strategy of, if I have an idea or Elizabeth have an idea, why would you take her or my idea, etc. And so my advice here would be to define a framework that works. Otherwise, you can risk burning out. In the case of John Rush, he's very clear of what he wants to build. And so as a consequence, either you're building something that he has in mind or you're out. In your case, because it's a bit more loosey-goosey, I think there is value in defining some other criteria. It could be the person needs to be incredible in product, or, I mean, whatever it is, you need to define something that doesn't create a problem for you. For example, maybe they have at least 10 clients that are paying $20 so that you know that the product has legs and the only thing that it needs is distribution. What you don't want, I mean, when I left eBay, we for my first startup, we launched in the US and we launched in the UK. And we had like a head of sales in the UK. And it was during the great financial crisis. And so the market for buying software at the time was not great. Guess what? The UK was the first country to go, because at the end of the day, we had a big presence in France. The US was strategic, and UK became kind of the fifth wheel, if you will. And in your case, what you don't want is to start having more and more problems, not because the founders are bad, but because we're going after ideas that are not validated. And so, yeah, I would define some demand framework that would allow you to have a filter that ensures that that you're not basically taking too much on, where at some point you're talking about the projects and there is no traction because there's no demand.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and this is totally right, like, even with a founder, now I have, as you said, I worked and tried to create something with some people that were good at coding, but actually they didn't have enough time, they didn't have experience with actually doing a business. So now the person I made a partnership for Feedbask is someone that already ran a business. And I wanted this because I don't want someone to say, oh, this is too difficult, I don't have time, 3 months after starting, things like that. So I'm trying to avoid this, and that's how I choose the first persons. And the second thing about the ID, I'm trying to not launching something that seems to be a good idea, but something that is validated. Like affiliation system is something that is validated. There is a lot of software doing this, but after you have to find differentiation, and it's the same for collecting collecting feedbacks. There is several competitors, and we have to find some differentiation, and that's what I'm trying to do with both. Not launching something that seems cool, but something that has proven it can do money. And also, if I don't think I can distribute, like if I think, okay, my audience is not enough or things like that, if I don't think I'm able to sell it, I won't go. It will be a no-go.
So maybe one last point to add to Pascal's, and take it with a pinch of salt, okay? But I think you have one dimension, which is leveraging your audience, so finding good products which you can sell. But I still go back to real estate, and you said something earlier, which was that your audience isn't, super interested in that. I think anybody can be interested in anything if you pitch it in the right way. So if you went back to who is your target market and your target persona, I mean, they need so many modules that I'm sure you can interest, the talent to use. I'm sure you can interest a technical audience to building that one module for you, because it's actually very kind of complex, I don't know, AI validation of one bit, so how can you at the same time leverage your audience, but also broadening your kind of, I'm the expert on conversion rate for real estate online, because time is limited in the end. So the more knowledge you'll acquire for your main business from the second, I think the better.
Yeah, this is true. And like I mentioned earlier, I started with staging and then I added video. And to do this video part, it required a lot of time. So I did a partnership on it, but it's within the AI-Crea system. And when I say people are not interested, they are, like, technically speaking, as you said. And so it was easy for me to find this person because I just said, okay, I wanted someone, and I had a lot of answer, and then I met the person I thought could be a good match. And but when I say it won't interested, it's not in the way they won't want to partner with me. It's more like I can talk about AI-Crea, but it won't. The people that follow me won't be my client.
Oh, I
But
understand.
they will talk about.
Yeah.
But I know some client came from X, but more like, someone told me about you, etc.
Cool. So I hope we've been able to clarify some of these challenges. Now we're going to go to my list of questions. I have two questions for you. The first one is one of my favorite interview questions, which is, what did you learn from your mother, Pauline? You talk about her in your when you had a French podcast. So I was going to ask, what did you learn from your mother? What is the most
You said
important thing that you learned
I
from her?
mentioned it on a podcast. You said
On X, when because I think that you did this French podcast or French video interview, and you said your mom can watch it because it's in French or something like that. Anyway, I saw that this morning. Anyway, so what is the thing that you learned the most from your mother?
wow, that's I owe everything to her and my parents. Like I have a very supportive family, I think. But from my mother, I think I have this thing of being calm. I'm very calm in all situations. Like she's never someone that she will never fight with anyone. And I think I owe her this. I'm this kind of person that are calm, and I think it kind of helps in many situations. Like I have friends sometimes that are next to me, and when I have some client on the phone and say, how do you do to still calm? Because they are so bad. Like some people that want to, get something, they will complain because French people really like to say, this is shit, so I want a refund. And like 2 days after, they just buy an annual offer, which is crazy. But I had this situation, and I think it's great to remain calm in every situation because, yeah.
That's a good trait. And now, and it's interesting because you're in AI. What is your most controversial view of the impact of AI in the next 3 to 5 years?
The most controversial. I'm really concerned about AI regarding the environment. Because I think, like, even my own activity, I think, okay, I know it consumes GPU, which is bad for environment. But on the other end, I think, okay, but to create this image before, you needed a designer, and a designer did it, I don't know, in 8 hours, which is 8 hours of working on a single computer using a single server. So is it better like 30 seconds of GPU or 8 hours. So this is something I question myself. I don't have the answer, and I think it's really hard to find good studies because we read a lot. Like one prompt in ChatGPT is a lot, but actually it's everything is on one server, like not one, but concentrated. And if everybody install locally ChatGPT on their own laptop, it will consume more. It's not because it's worse that doing one prompt is good, but yes, for the moment, I would like to know more about this and find good studies, but I don't have this.
What's the most overrated tool on the SaaS market, in your
Overrated?
opinion? Yeah, overrated.
Wow, I don't know.
You don't have one that you think that everybody's talking about it and saying good things, but you think it's overrated?
No, I don't have right now one in mind.
Okay.
I'm thinking, but
Yeah.
no instant answer.
Okay. Elizabeth, do you have one?
I know people really like Gamma AI. I think it gave me this wow factor when I used it, but actually I haven't found the way. So I'm put the onus on me rather than on the tool, you know, because I definitely know super cool people who use it and swear by it. So for me, I don't know if it's because of my anxiety about not putting confidential things in it. So in the end, I'm not getting the input, which is therefore making it great for me. It looks pretty, but I'm not sure it's cracking it for me in terms of like nailing a presentation. But again, it's probably me.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks, Pauline. Thank you, Elizabeth. And this is the end of this episode of Indie Board Session.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pascal.
Thank you.